Hi everyone, this is Mindy Egan for Honeybee Stamps, and today I have a very clean and simple card to share with you today. And I'm also going to show you how you can use the Circlescapes shaker frames to add some subtle interest to your cards and ground your image. I'm starting with the Lovely Layers Magnolia die, and I'm going to die cut out all of the pieces using some white cardstock and my bitty buzz cutter. I trimmed my cardstock down so that it would fit on these cutting plates. After I have all of my pieces cut out, I'm going to bring in the Circlescapes shaker frames. Now, this is a really fun set. So you have your frames on the top there of my magnet sheet, and then you have the circles down below, and that is what goes behind the frame. So I'm going to pick one that's going to fit on the front of my card, and I will be die cutting it from Vellum. Now here are the frames, and now these frames are going to fit right over that base that I'm going to die cut out. So I die cut out that base from the vellum, and then I'm going to bring in some gold mirror cardstock to create the frame. And I also die cut it quite a few times to layer up behind there. So it's going to add dimension to the front of the card. Now, I'll be honest, when I started this project, I really wasn't sure what I was going to do, but there were certain products that I wanted to use. So I did my die cutting. There was a sentiment that I really liked off of the Birthday Wishes stamp set. So I'm stamping that onto white cardstock with the Honeybee Stamps Intense Black ink. So I'm kind of just building up the products and items that I want to use. I love that Honeybee has a coordinating die for these sentiments, so I'm going to go ahead and die cut that out. And one other thing I wanted to add to my card was a background using the Rainbow A2 pierced plate that I'm just running through my die cut machine with 80-pound white cardstock. Now I can come back and work on my Magnolia that I die cut from white cardstock. So there are so many color possibilities that you could use for this, and sometimes there's so many options that would look good. I feel overwhelmed, and when I feel overwhelmed with a decision to make, I go for rainbow. It's just kind of my default. So for each layer of that flower, I am ink blending on picked raspberry, squeezed lemonade, salvaged patina, and wilted violet using just some mini blending tools. These are all in the Distress Oxide line. One of the reasons I picked it is because it has a softer tone than the Distress inks, and it's easier to blend, especially when I have such a small area to work with. And I am placing these on a mini stencil mat because that silicone mat kind of holds my die in place, so I really don't have to touch it a lot. Now for the inner part of the flower, I am using squeezed lemonade, and then I'm going to put a little bit of picked raspberry on one end just to show that there's some contrast between the two because they are going to layer together. Then I can start putting my flower together. So I am going to layer each piece on top of each other using my liquid glue. I was a little nervous that the liquid glue wouldn't hold well to the oxide, but it really does. It holds together very well. And these are really easy to layer up. You just match your piece to the one before. And if you ever struggle with it, Honeybee Stamps includes a print out that you can refer to, or you can look on the website. But I found that these layered together really well, just kind of matched up like a simple puzzle. So after I have all of my pieces adhered together and I'm adding this last piece to the middle of my flower to kind of give that contrast, then I'm going to work on actually putting my card together. So I trimmed down that pierced piece to about 3 3/4 by 5 inches. I'm adding a strong adhesive to the back and placing that on top of white cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now I'm adding liquid glue behind my frame that I had layered together and adding that to the front of the card. And one thing I really love about doing this is it's not only kind of grounding my rainbow image, but it's also diffusing that background. So you really don't see that piercing detail behind the vellum. So if you feel your background is being overpowered, whether it's with ink blending or anything else, give this a shot. It seems really simple, but it really does help. I could have very easily used acetate instead of vellum and created a shaker card too, which I think is what it was designed for. Now, since my background and my card is really simple, I'm going to bring out some of these gems, and this is the Aurora Borealis. Sorry, too early to be saying those words. And I'm just going to pick some of those up with my tweezers and add them to the top and the bottom. Now, I still felt like I was missing a little bit of something, and whenever I feel like I'm missing something, I dig out my white gel pen and I'm just adding little dots to the flower. I was also pleasantly surprised that this gel pen worked on top of the Distress Oxides. So I started in the center and added the dots about halfway up, and I really love that little bit of added detail that the gel pen gives. That's going to finish up my card project for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.